Audio games map. 8 apps. Audio games. Koptekst. Hellhunter op 10 moment. Hellhunter Damned Soul. Liggend. Hellhunter Damned Soul. Gebied voor directe aanraking.
Hellhunter. Damned Soul. Move among. Exit credits. New game. New. Load game. You have reached meeting saving point. You saved the game. Tree. Medical kit. There's no tree. Saving point. You opened the menu page. Life point. 100% life points. Experience. Alien reached level 2. 1,870. Experience for the next level. Inventory. You opened the inventory page. 9. Blood vial. 1. Wolf relic. 1. Artifact. 1. Secret document. 1. Soul of wolf. 1. Black scroll. 1. Bat relic. You opened. You're back into the mansion. To the Chaos Tower. Elian is about to approach the place. Now that the mountains don't block the view anymore, he can see that there's something wrong in the sky. Right below there's the tower, which now is divided into 4 sections. The bottom part is still on the ground, but the other 3 pieces are suspended in air and rotate around the bottom part. Each part is situated at a different height. It's difficult to explain what's happening, but the fact that nearby there are humans who wander around without a destination doesn't make it easier to figure out. Elian wants to try asking one of them. You have reached Chaos Tower, outskirts. Corpse. It's a man who died recently. There's still no trace of the cause of death. Elian uses his power and touches the body. He met an aberrant creature. The humanoid being reached him and, after touching his head, he couldn't move anymore. A tremendous headache started and kept going. He felt his brain get so hot that it was at the point of melting. Then that thing actually sucked it through its hand. Like a drink. Standing person. Elian asks that man if he has a moment to talk. He doesn't receive an answer. The man is looking toward the other side. Some moments later, he starts muttering something. Elian can't hear, so he gets closer. When Elian is close enough, he stops muttering. Some seconds pass. He suddenly turns his head. He moans out loud and then attacks Elian. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 70 experience points. Double tap to Elian knocks out the man. It's like he lost his mind. Actually, it could be the doing of someone else. There's no point in standing there. Elian should enter the tower to find out more about that. Grass. The grass is withering. Next to the tower, the grass even stopped growing. Mindless. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains to outside the tower, to the tower entrance. When Elian is about to enter, the door starts to open. Elian hides somewhere, as fast as he can. A group of 5 aberrant creatures come out of the door. It's a group of humanoid beings which wear a cloak. Elian has no doubt. They are mind flayers. They are powerful spellcasters that have the power to enslave the mind of their victims. They can even eat their brain without damaging the body. They don't belong to this world. They should come from the Pandemonium. So Elian is very worried and sets this task as an absolute priority. He won't go back without accomplishing it. Humans are controlled, and the rift in the sky right above the tower means that there's a ritual ongoing. It must be stopped. Elian enters the tower. Tentacles are spread all over the walls. This floor has a great library inside. You have reached first tower, floor 0. Tentacles. Library shelf 1. Tentacles. The tentacles aim at Elian. As long as he stays at a safe distance, it should be okay. Library shelf 1. There's plenty of books, tomes, and scrolls. Most of them tell about history, mythology, and magic. There's plenty of books, tomes, and scroll. Table. On the table, there are many books, but most of it is occupied by materials used for magic and rituals. On the table, library shelf 2. The books on this shelf are about war, military strategies, and geography. There's also a section dedicated to monsters and paranormal phenomena. The books on this library shelf 3. Inside those books is the detailed story of this tower. It seems that through the centuries, it changed its name many times. Elian finds an interesting book. It seems like the chronicles of an adventure that happened here a long time ago. It's a story about Justin the Adventurer. Elian quickly reads a part of it. Justin and his team decided to conquer the tower. Even just to enter it, they had to fight terrible beasts. In order to reach the following floors, they had to find 2 crystals. Their colors were blue and purple. Some pages have been removed from the book. Elian quickly reads a part of it. Circles. On the floor, many circles have been traced. Most of them are concentric. They have been traced with chalk and blood. To the outskirts, to floor 1. At the center of the floor there is a shiny blue crystal. It hovers a few centimeters above the ground. On the walls, some fresco portrays a mysterious beast. The progeny of the vampire comes forth, but they are different. Some tentacles merge with their body. Many eyes open from other parts of their body. They don't look very stable in the mind. You have reached first tower, floor 1. Aberrant progeny. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 130 experience points. Double tap to continue. Fresco. The beast in the fresco seems like a jackal. To be more precise, it's a were-jackal. Blue crystal. The crystal is shaped like a symmetrical cross. Will Elian touch the crystal? Swipe left to touch the crystal. Swipe right to not do that. Elian touches it. The crystal immediately shrinks until it's not possible to see it anymore. Corpse. Among the tentacles, there's the corpse of a man. The limbs and the neck are blocked by the tentacles, which still hold him suspended. He has been choked by them. Among the tentacles, aberrant progeny. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 130 experience points. Elian gets blood. You open life point less than 75. You're back in aberrant progeny. Fresco. Corpse. To floor 0. To floor 2. Another crystal hovers inside this floor. This time it's violet. The walls show the fresco of another humanoid beast. You have reached first tower. Saving point. You saved the game. Mindless. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 70. Aberrant progeny. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 130 experience points. Double tap to continue. Saving point. You saved the mindless. Fresco. The fresco portrays a legendary race. A humanoid dragon. That should be a dragon knight. It wears armor and wields an electric spear. Violet crystal. To floor 1. To floor 3. Once more, Elian finds a red crystal when he enters this floor. This time on the fresco, there's a sort of aberrant bat. You have reached first aberrant progeny. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains jar. Elian removes the lid. The jar contains a lot of human blood. Inside the liquid, there are also entrails and other organs. It's no use being picky. So Elian obtains 2 blood vials. The jar is empty. The blood will be better used in Elian's hands, rather than being used for insane rituals. Red crystal. Fresco. Mindless. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains aberrant progeny. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 130 experience points. Elian gets blood vial, double tapped jar, red crystal, fresco. The creature in the fresco is an aberrant beast. The main body is a brain with bat wings. From below the brain, many tentacles come out. Mindless. To floor 2. Upstairs. Wall. Hole. Jar. Hole. Wall. Upstairs. To floor 2. Mindless. To floor 2. Upstairs. Wall. There's some wall which is not covered with tentacles, after all. There's some wall. Hole. The hole has a rectangular shape. Jar. Hole. The hole has wall. Upstairs. Elian goes upstairs. He should reach the top of the first tower from here. As Elian proceeds, the stairs suddenly rotate. The path becomes a very long slide. Elian slips down it. When the slide ends, he reaches another floor. But that's floor 1 of this tower. He has been fooled by a trap. You have reached first tower to floor 2. You have reached first saving point. You saved to get to floor to violet crystal. The crystal is shaped like a symmetrical cross. Will Elian touch the crystal? Swipe left to touch the crystal. Swipe right to not do that. Elian touches it. The crystal immediately shrinks until it's not possible to see it anymore. To floor 1. To floor 3. You have reached first window. To floor 4. Upstairs to floor 4. Elian reaches the top of this segment of the tower. From here it's possible to reach the next tower, but he must be careful or he will fall into the void. With the power of the relic, Elian morphs into a wolf, and with an accurate leap, he manages to reach the next tower. Libraries are even here. The more he climbs the tower, the more its frescoes show weirder and monstrous creatures. You have reached second tower, floor 4. Library shelf 1. The books on this shelf are completely dedicated to rituals of every kind. Elian notices some page stuck among 2 books. They belong to a book which tells about an adventure inside the tower a long time ago. Justin and his team had to fight countless monsters. On the way they found 3 levers which unlocked a mechanism. Touching the walls, they managed to proceed further inside the tower. The books on this shelf are completely dedicated. Library shelf 2. The main themes of those books are psychology, astrology, and geology. The main themes... Lever. There's a lever on the ground. Elian pulls the lever. Fresco. The fresco shows a purple ghost. The shape and color are different compared to the other ghosts that Elian met before now. To floor 3, to floor 5. As Elian reaches this floor, a bunch of humans come out and look towards him, but there's more. They are just corpses, and from their mouth, ears, nose, and even eyes, there are tentacles and insect-like legs which protrude. They are cerebral parasites, and they have an aberrant origin. Elian is disgusted. Anyway, the humans are dead. He could at least free their bodies from the host. You have reached second tower, floor 5. Cerebral parasite. The battle begins. Elian is poisoned. Elian is poisoned. The battle ends. Elian gains 120 experience points. Elian gets Blood Vial. Double tap to continue. Library shelf 1. There are books about the ancients, the multiverse, and quantum physics. There's some pages stuck among 2 books. They belong to a book which tells about an adventure inside the tower a long time ago. Justin and his team, at a certain point, entered many rooms with head statues. The statues were looking in many directions, so they walked through those directions without ever turning around, and so they touched the walls and proceeded to the next floors. Candles. Many lit candles are scattered around the floor. There's some wax which has already solidified. On a second glance, Elian notices that the candles are disposed in a way to form a geometric shape. Many lit candles are scattered around the fresco. This fresco portrays another aberrant bat. Its colors are darker, and it resembles an actual bat even less. Library Shelf 2. Mathematics, geometry, and information technology are the main themes treated on this bookshelf. There's a book which fell from the bookshelf. Elian checks it out, but there's nothing that catches his attention. Elian puts the book back in its place. When he finds the place, he notices something at the bottom of the hole. Elian removes the other books nearby, and in this way, a lever is revealed. Elian pulls it down. Cerebral parasite. The battle begins. Elian is poisoned. The battle ends. Elian gains 120 experience points. Elian gets... You open life less than 75% life points. You're back in the map. Library Shelf 1. Candle. Fresco. Library to floor 4. To floor 6. Library to floor. Elian enters the floor. The path is blocked. Inside the room there's an oversized tentacle. It seems like it could aim at Elian. You have reached second tower, floor 6. Cerebral parasite. The battle... Elian is poisoned. The battle ends. Elian gains 120 experience points. Double tapped. Fresco. Aberrant progeny. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains Fresco, tentacle, wall, tentacle, wall, 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 tentacle. On the wall, there's a huge tentacle. That's a menace for Elian. It also hinders his access to a part of the floor. Elian gets ready for the battle. The battle begins. Elian is defeated. Seems like this is the end. Swipe left to load the last saved game. You have reached first tower, floor 2. To floor 3. To floor 1. Violet crystal. The crystal. Swipe alien touch. To floor 3. You have reached first window. To floor 4. Elian reaches the top of this segment of the tower. From here, you have reached second library shelf 1. The books, library shelf, the main lever. There's a lever. Fresco to floor fresco. The fresco to floor 5. As Elian reaches this floor, a bunch of human. You have reached second cerebral parasite. The battle begins. Elian is poisoned. The battle ends. Elian gains 1. Library shelf 1. Candles. Many. Fresco. This library shelf. Mathematics. Cerebral parasite. The battle. The battle ends. Elian gains 1. Library candles. Fresco. Library shelf 2. Fresco. This library. There's a book. To floor. Library shelf. Elian puts the book back in its place. The lever is all ready. To floor 6. Elian enters the floor. The path is blocked. You have reached second cerebral parasite. The battle begins. Elian is poisoned. Elian is poisoned. Elian is poisoned. Elian is poisoned. The battle ends. Elian gains Fresco, aberrant progeny. The battle begins. The battle ends. Alien gains 100. Fresco. Tentacle. Fresco. In the tentacle. On the wall. The battle begins. The battle ends. Alien gains 170 experience points. Double tap to continue. Behind that oversized tentacle, there was a lever. Alien pulls it down. Aberrant progeny. Wall. Alien touches the wall. It reacts to him. Suddenly, 3 walls inside the room descend until they disappear under the floor. 3 paths have been revealed. Upstairs, to floor 7. Upstairs, window, to floor 5. Lever, to floor 5. Lever, to floor, window, upstairs, to floor 7. Alien follows the stairway. It's time to reach the next tower. As Alien walks through the stairway, the stairs suddenly retire inside the wall. Alien is in freefall. He immediately reacts and minimizes the damage. He's gone through much worse obstacles. Yet he wasted a lot of time with this trap. You have reached second tower, floor 4, to floor 5. To floor 3. Alien can jump. You have reached first tower, window, to floor, upstairs, to floor 2. You have reached first saving. You saved to floor. You have reached first tower, window, to floor 4. You have reached sector floor 5. You have reached second to floor 6. You have reached lever to floor 5. Window. Elian aims at the last tower. With the power of the relic, Elian morphs and manages to reach it. The chant comes from the top of this tower. Even if there are less monsters nearby, there's an oppressive feeling. He feels like he must hurry. You have reached 4th tower, floor 11. Tentacle. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 170 experience points. Elian gets Blood Vial. Double tap to continue. Fresco. This fresco is huge and shows a massive creature. It's a hybrid race. Part anglerfish and part slug. Instead of a light bait, there's a gorgeous woman attached to the lantern. It seems like the fish could breathe air as well, since it's out of the sea. Mind Flayer. The battle begins. The enemy is getting stronger. Elian is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Elian is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Elian is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Elian is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Elian is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Elian is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting slower. The battle ends. Alien gains 140 experience points. Alien increases his experience level. Double tap to continue. Tentacle. Fresco. Bones. Fresco. This fresco is huge and shows a massive creature. It's a hybrid race. Bones. Human bones, of course. It seems like they have been used to craft some ritual instrument. Mind Flayer. The battle begins. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting slower. The battle ends. Alien gains 140 experience points. Alien gets Blood Vial. Double Tentacle. Fresco. Bones. To floor 9. To floor 6. To floor 9. Alien can use the Wolf Relic from here to return inside the third tower. To floor 6. To floor 12. Tentacle. To floor 12. To floor 9. From this floor, Alien can hear a chant. It comes from the outside. Probably from the last tower. The path to the last floor of this tower has collapsed. You have reached third tower, floor 9. Cerebral Parasite. The battle begins. The battle ends. Alien gain to floor 10. Upstairs to floor 8. Upstairs to floor 8. You have reached third tower, floor 8. Mind Flayer. The battle begins. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting slower. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting slower. The battle ends. Alien gains to floor 9. To floor 7. You have reached third saving point. You saved the game. You saved the head statue. On a square pedestal, there's a stone statue with the shape of a humanoid head. It's looking forward at that door. As Elian touches the statue, he hears the sound of a mechanism which unlocks something. Fresco. The fresco shows the image of a winged toad demon. What a horrible face. Ceremonial chalice. The chalice is decorated with particular carvings. It must have been used for celebrating rituals. It has been filled with human blood. Elian obtains 1 blood vial. To floor 3. To floor 8. Elian unlocks the door. He won't have to worry about the mechanism anymore. Another head statue is here. The Mind Flayers finally appear. Elian must pay extra attention to them. You have reached third tower, floor 8. Fresco. The fresco represents an eerie and terrifying devil. It's winged. The skin is red, and an evil grin can be seen on its face. Mind Flayer. The battle begins. The enemy is getting stronger. Elian is getting slower. The battle ends. Elian gains 140 experience points. Double tap to continue. Fresco. Head statue. Fresco. The fresco represents an eerie and terrifying devil. Head statue. There's another stone statue with the shape of a humanoid head. It's looking backward at that door. As Elian touches the statue, he hears the sound of a mechanism which unlocks something. Fresco. Mind Flayer to floor 9. To floor 7. Wall. On the wall has been traced some geometrical shapes. They all intersect among themselves, making a complex structure. Elian can't recognize what has been used to trace those lines, but whatever it is, it smells weird. On the wall has been eyes. Among the tentacles, now there's also some large eyes. They all stare at Elian obsessively. Among the wall. Elian touches the wall. He hears the sound of a mechanism being unlocked. The wall moves forward, and then it moves to the side, revealing a secret treasure chest. Elian checks the contents of the chest. There are many bottles. They contain human blood. Elian obtains 4 blood vials. Elian already got all the blood from the bottles inside the treasure chest. Head statue. Fresco. Mind Flayer to floor 9. Elian unlocks the door. The mechanism won't bother him anymore. You have reached third tower, floor 9. Cerebral parasite. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 120 experience points. Double tap to continue. Tentacle. The battle begins. Elian is getting weaker. The battle ends. Elian gains 170 experience points. Double tap to... You open life less than 75 experience inventory. You opened the inventory page. 9. Blood You're back in the map. Fresco. On the wall, Elian can see a feminine humanoid. The body is half serpentine, and many snakes replace her hair. While she could be mistaken for Medusa, she's actually a Naga queen. On the wall. That wall seems slightly darker than the others nearby. Head statue. Another head statue is here. It's looking forward at that wall. As Elian touches the statue, he hears the sound of a mechanism which unlocks something. Mind Flayer. The battle begins. The enemy is getting stronger. Elian is getting slower. The battle ends. Elian gains 140 experience points. Elian gets Blood Vial. Double tap to continue. To floor 8. Upstairs to floor 10. Elian, morphed as a bat, manages to reach the upper floor and lands on it. On the other side of the floor, he can see something on a pedestal. You have reached third fresco. On the huge fresco is portrayed Gargantua, a massive gargoyle made of iron instead of stone. Pedestal. On the pedestal, there's a relic inside a globe. Elien can see the mist, which has been trapped somehow. That means he found the mist relic. With the mist relic, Elien can now transform into mist. In this way, he will be able to bypass obstacles like grates and reach many new places which were out of his reach before. In battle, he can now transform into mist as well. To change into mist shape, you follow the same rules of the other relics. As mist, he will always dodge enemy attacks automatically. On the other hand, to maintain mist form, Elien will slowly keep losing a small amount of life. Also, he can't attack while in mist shape. To change from one shape to the other ones, you have to tap with 3 or more fingers. But since Elien has 4 different shapes, now the shapes will follow this order: Dhampir, Wolf, Bat, and then Mist. While transformed, Elien won't be able to heal himself with blood vials. To floor 9. Fresco. To floor. You have reached third to floor 10. Upstairs to floor 8. You have reached third tower, floor 8. Mind Flayer to floor 9, to floor 7. You have reached third saving point. You saved it to floor 8, to floor 3. With the help of the wolf. You have reached first window. Elien reaches the top of this segment of tower. From here, it's possible to reach the towers nearby. With the power of the relic, Elien morphs and manages to reach the next tower. On this floor, there's a weird statue. You have reached third tower, floor 7. Saving point to floor 3. You have reached first window to floor 4. You have reached second to floor 5. You have reached second to floor 6. You have reached second lever to floor 5. Window. You have reached fourth tower to floor 12. The next floor is the last one. On a wall, Elien can see one last fresco, which represents a mythological creature. The chant is starting to become very annoying. Even if it doesn't rain, Elien can hear thunder. You have reached fourth tower, floor 12. Saving point. You saved the game. You saved the game. Chains. Chains. Maybe they have been used to restrict some human sacrifice. But what really bothers Elien is the sound. It only brings back terrible memories. Fresco. That huge fresco represents an immense aberrant creature from the sea. The text below says that it's Leviathan, but it looks more like an oversized kraken to Elien. It's difficult to interpret this fresco. Besides, when many sources about the past start to overlap, it often happens that a misinterpretation can alter the original subject, especially when it involves myths. To floor 11. To top floor. To floor 11. You have reached 4th tower, floor 11. Tentacle. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elien gains 100. Fresco. This fresco is huge and shows a massive creature. It's a hybrid race. Tentacle. To floor 12. You have reached 4th saving point. You saved to top floor. Elien reached the very top of the tower. The sky seems to have gone mad. The rift is wider than before, and weird sounds come from it. He climbs an external staircase, and finally can see the altar. Many typical materials used for rituals are scattered around. Some magical circle is traced under his feet. The vampire stands there and keeps chanting a ritual in an ancient language. Elien thinks that he also started to rave, since the rite seems already performed. He must stop the effects of the ritual at least. You have reached 4th tower, top floor. Corpses. On a side of the floor, a pile of human corpses is stacked like a bunch of trash. Even if Elien used his power to touch the bodies, he can't sense anything. That means that their souls have been used for the ritual. Ritual components. Candles, blood, chalk, incense, bones. Every kind of item involved in a ritual is here. Aberrant vampire. Metal grate. Elien uses the mist relic and morphs into mist. He can pass through the grate. There's a pedestal behind it. Above the pedestal there's a weird object. Since Elien doesn't know what it is, he just leaves it there. To floor 12. Corpses. To floor. You have reached 4th saving point. You saved to top floor. You have reached 4th to floor. Metal aberrant vampire. Elien jumps over the altar. He draws the sword and dashes towards the vampire. A bunch of tentacles come out from his cloak, forcing Elien to retreat. The vampire turns toward Elien. He's covered with tentacles, even more than his progeny. His eyes protrude from their sockets. They've actually become ocular tentacles. The aberrant vampire is shouting something, but Elien is not sure if it's an ancient language or if he's just rambling. Or both. Whatever the vampire is saying, it just comes out as noise and drool from his mouth. From Elien's perspective. So he starts fighting that thing. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 400 experience points. Elian gets Blood Vial. Double tap to continue. The fight ends. Before landing the final blow, Elian needs a vampire relic, namely any part of his body. Most of his body is merged with tentacles, but the hands still seem humanoid enough. Elian cuts off a finger and covers it with his Dampier power. In that way it won't turn into ash when the vampire dies, and Elian won't lose the relic. So Elian obtains 1 vampire relic. Without wasting another second, he cuts the head off the vampire. The body turns into ash. From that pile, Elian can see his soul floating towards the sky. Towards the rift, to be precise. That's the final destination of a soul bound to a pact, made with an ancient of the Pandemonium. That's the proof Elian was searching for. The vampire made a pact, hence the merger with the aberrant prosthesis. His progeny has been involved too. But the rift is not closing at all. The effects of the ritual are still active. Elian must do something. On the altar, there's also a grimoire. He checks it out. He's heard about this. It's the Grimoire of Darkness. Rumors say that it's a partial reinterpretation of the infamous Necronomicon. The content of this grimoire allows you to make a pact with the ancients. It's also possible to use it for casting space-time spells and rituals that create portals which connect with the Pandemonium. An item like this is so famous that even common humans through the web talk about it, and they even search for it for real. Without hesitation, Elian burns the grimoire. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to stop the effects of the ritual. Still, now Elian knows that he must search for portals scattered inside the whole tower. He must be quick. In the worst-case scenario, an ancient will be summoned from the portals, probably Cthulhu. It could even be more dangerous than Dracula itself. Metal grate. Pile of ash. Met to floor 12. You have reached 4th saving. You save to top. You have reached 4th to floor. Metal grate. Pile of ash. That's all that's left of the vampire. There's more ash than he expected. It could be due to the aberrant prosthesis which increased the mass of the body. So they became vampire parts, since they turned into ash. At the same time, the vampire was still a vampire. It's the first time that Elian saw an aberrant vampire. Hopefully the last as well. The ash is still slightly glowing blue. Another consequence of the pact? Something is off. Elian sweeps away the ash with a kick. He was right. The ash was hiding a magic circle which was still active. This is one of the portals he's searching for. Metal grate to floor 12. You have reached 4th saving. You saved the game. You opened the menu page. Quit game. Hell Hunter. Damned soul. Move among the options. Exit game.
Stand. Hellhunter Demso. Logo overig.